So today we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. The first example we're going to have is 29 equals 5 plus 6x. Alright, so we have an equation here, and the first thing we want to do is find our variable. So locate the variable. My variable right now is connected to the 6. So what we want to do is we want to isolate the variable by doing the opposite operation of anything that is on that side. So here we have a 5. The 5 is a positive, so to undo the 5, in order to move it to the other side, we would have to subtract. So we're going to take away 5 from that side, canceling out, making a zero pair. And then you need to remember what you do to one side, you must do to the other. So I'm going to subtract 5 from the left-handed side as well. So 29 minus 5 is 24. Now, once I have that step done, I still need to bring down what is left on the right-hand side. So I'm going to bring down plus 6x. And then we're going to clean it up and rewrite it. So we have 24 equals 6x. Now, we still need to solve for the variable. So right now, because there is a coefficient sitting in front of the variable, that means 6 times x. So to isolate the variable, we need to undo that process. So instead of multiplying, we're going to divide by 6. When I divide by 6 over there, that cancels out, creating a 1x, or just an x. But what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side of the equation. So over here on the left-handed side, I'm going to divide by 6. So 24 divided by 6 gives us 4. So now we have found out that x equals 4. Now, you always want to check your process. So over here on the side, we're going to do a checking process. So my problem was 29 equals 5 plus 6x. Now I know that x is supposedly equal to 4, so I want to plug that in and make sure that that works. So I have 29 equals 5 plus 6 times 4. Okay, according to order operations, we're going to multiply first, so 6 times 4 is 24. Bring down your plus 5 equals 29. All right, next we're going to do 5 plus 24, so 29 equals 29. And that works out, so you know you got your answer correct. X equals 4. Box that in. All right, number 2. Number 2, we're going to have x divided by 3 plus 1 equals 7. All right, again, we want to find our variable. Okay, so our variable is connected to this division of 3. All right, I want to make sure that I isolate the variable, meaning I want to get it on one side by itself. So this plus 1 on the left-handed side, I need to remove that. In order to remove it, I've got to do the opposite operation. All right, and then that will create a zero pair. So instead of adding 1, I'm going to subtract 1. What I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. So I'm also going to subtract 1 from the right-hand side of the equal sign. Okay, so over here, plus 1 minus 1, that cancels out, creating a zero pair. Okay, on the last problem, you saw me write 0 down there, but I'm going to just leave it blank now. I'm going to bring down what I had on the left-hand side, so I have x divided by 3 still, equals, and then 7 minus 1 is 6. All right, so now we still have a variable and a number attached to it. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, well, what's going on between there? What's the operation? So it's being divided by 3. So the opposite of dividing by 3 is to multiply by 3. So if I come out here to the side and I multiply by 3, these two cancel out, leaving me with x equals, and what I do to one side I must do to the other. So 6 times 3 gives us 18. Now we want to check that process. So off to the side, we're going to plug in. We have x divided by 3 plus 1 equals 7. So wherever I see my x, I'm going to substitute the number 18 for it. So I have 18 divided by 3 plus 1 equals 7. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 equals 7. And you find that that is true. So my answer, x equals 18, is a good answer. box it in. All right, number 3. Number 3, we have 3.4 equals 2x minus 0.9. So we have 3 4/10 equals 2x minus 9/10. All right, again, we have an equation that has a variable that we need to solve for, so I need to locate the variable. All right, here's my variable. Right now it is attached to a 2. All right, so I want to undo the process of this subtraction of 0.9 because I need to get the variable by itself. So opposite of subtraction is to add. So I would add 9/10. This creates a 0 pair, so I can just mark it out. But what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to draw my railroad tracks here. So that way I know that I'm going across the equal sign. So I'm going to come over here and add 9/10. All right, and this will give me 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 3 plus 1 is 4. Bring down your decimal. So I have 4 3/10 equals 2x. All right, so we're not done because I don't have x by itself yet. So again, I need to isolate the variable, get it by itself. Right now, this is 2 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 2. This will cancel each other out, leaving me with a 1x. All right, or I can just write x equals, but if I divide it by 2 on the right-hand side, I must also do the same to the left-hand side. So I've got 4.3 divided by 2. And that should give us 2 15/100. And again, you want to check that to make sure that it works. So we come off to the side, and we're going to plug it in. So we have 3 4/10 equals 2x minus 9/10. All right, I'm going to plug in the 2 15/100 in for my x. I'm going to substitute it in for the variable. So we have 3 4/10 equals 2 times 2 15/100 minus 9/10. All right, so we still have 3 4/10 here. Here we're going to multiply, so that gives me 4 30/100 minus 9/10. Okay, so here I have to subtract. So remember, you line up those decimals. So we have 4 3/10, or you can say 4 30/100 minus 9/10, or 90/100. Subtract here, borrow 3, 9 from there is 4, bring down. All right, so we get 3 4/10. So finalize, 3 4/10 equals 3 4/10. And it works out. So now we can go circle our answer because we know that it works. So x equals 2 15/100. All right, number 4.